You know what? I want to get to this Verzuz, man. So I was
Leroy
going.
Green just said, I don't know nothing about MJG. Let me tell you something right here, Leroy. My first note is about MJG. You don't know nothing.
MJG
I
is
know MJG, Leroy.
special.
You don't know nothing about being pimp tight. I got family from the man, Leroy. You don't know nothing about being pimp tight, Leroy. Watch your tone.
I'm
You
gonna
want
ask you what your
to
thoughts were on the verses, but I want to read these comments from somebody that's on my Facebook. I know I didn't get authorization to use her comments, so I won't say who it is. But this is what her notes were, and I thought these were interesting. She said, so I'm just getting to watch the Versus TV, and I'm not feeling this." She said, "First, you don't throw this one together. They deserve better. They deserve weeks of promo. Number two, she says, I get you want your brand in front and center, but there should have been pics of Pimp C on the screen, period.
point blank.
Third, you're dealing with Southern royalty, and the stage should have reflected that. Hell, we rent our throne chairs for just $150. Are they not worthy of $450? Fourth,
Can you get one more chance remix chairs?
fourth, my feelings have nothing to do with Bun B, UGK, or 8 Ball MJG. They were awesome. Just think they deserved better. Ray
Who
Rims with the
said
super
that?
chat says, I had UGK winning in the first 10 rounds, but 8 Ball and MJG pulled off into the sunset. Did you get my cash app? Let me check that out. What were your thoughts? And I
On
agree with
what?
Ray Rims, actually.
On all of the on the comment prior to Ray's comment, or
No, the comment prior to Ray's comment.
to how the Jeezy song goes, standing ovation. Right, all those things. You want me to piggyback off of it some and really dig in and tell you how I really feel? So
Yeah, go for it. I was gonna read what Ray Rims said at Cash App. He said, "For the least you could have did 3 stacks. No show again.
we're
It's
gonna get
three.
to the no
It's
show.
3 stacks birthday. We're gonna lay low on him real quick. We'll build that into the conversation
You can lay low if you want to. I won't be.
though."
Um, what's the first point that she made? Because I think that might have been.
The first point that she made. Let me go
Let's
back.
unpack everything she said because it was all
Okay,
powerful.
it was
Let's,
heavy. First point she made: you don't throw this one together. They deserve better. They
so,
deserve weeks of promo.
so can we pause for a second?
Uh huh.
These are foundational Southern hip hop groups and acts. The reason that Outkast is even in a position for us to speak of them like we oftentimes do, like they are arguably the greatest hip hop group of all time, is because of 4 groups specifically that came before them. And these are 2 of the 4 groups. The other 2 are the Ghetto Boys and 3-6 Mafia. But this is UGK and 8 Ball and MJG. It
Yeah.
doesn't get any more important into the legacy of Southern rap and hip hop, especially at a high level of MCing and lyricism prior to Outkast, than this, unless you want to go to Scarface's solo material. Because even those Ghetto Boys albums, like Face has grown. Face has
Yeah.
always been a brilliant songwriter, but as a lyricist and as like an MC, oh, he got progressively better as the 90s got on.
Well, I want to say this. I think that 3-6 was still figuring it out. They were doing a whole lot of mixtapes and really formulating their group. Ghetto Boys, they clearly were already there, Mind Playing Tricks on Me early, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think 8 Ball and MJG, that's next. You know what I'm saying? Like, coming out hard, they figured it out. That was 93. And UGK was right there too. Like, I don't think 3-6 really totally figured out their group dynamics till around 95, 96 ish, to be honest.
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is the sound and the
Yeah.
inventiveness and them being around.
Gotcha.
Like they were around by 91, 92, weren't they, Mike? The original.
Yeah,
3-6?
they were. Well, they were. Lord Infamous and DJ Paul were doing mixtapes together. Juicy J was over here doing his thing, and yeah.
That's 91, 92 though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 91, 92. So in this Southern rap history, Ghetto Boys are first, right?
Yep.
And then, but immediately after that, that's what I was about to say. Like UGK, 8 Ball and G are literally like a year or 2 later, right?
Yeah, because Ball and G had an album before Coming Out Hard. I forgot what it was
Before Coming Out
called.
Hard, right.
But obviously the jump from that to coming out hard was like, gigantic. But yeah, this is the core.
So
This
Metal
is the
Boy's like
core.
88, 89. Like, but 90, 91, it's like, no, UGK and 8 Ball and MJG are popping up, and then it's like 92, you start hearing about 3-6. But I'm just speaking about the importance
Right.
of who they are. And here's something that I wanted to say about 8 Ball and MJG. It goes back to that Jay-Z line that we've been using. You're starting off strong, but you're wheezing in the back. Well, actually, if you look at it, and this is why we need to talk about 8 Ball and MJG, well, they actually started off the strongest of all these groups. And they actually finished the strongest of all these groups. And we saw it last night, in specifically the stuff that they went to on In My Lifetime Volume 1 and Living Legends.
Yep.
Because they have classic material on both of those albums, because guess what? Both of those albums are great.
You know what was a surprise to me, and I forgot all about this song, Candy. I was like, whoa.
I forgot about Candy, too.
I forgot all about that, bro. I love that record.
Mike, I knew Space Age Pimpin' and Armed Robbery. Like, we knew that.
You knew that was coming.
We knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Like, we knew that Stop Playing Games with Diddy was coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, here's where I realized that they were going to win. When they played the Forever track with Lloyd, before they played You Don't Want Drama, Look at the Grills, and Don't Make, I was like, oh, they dropping Forever. I was like, this is.
And they understand their catalog. Like, even when they did the Middle of the Night remix with Twister, I was like, whoa.
Right. But the Forever track, Mike, is the real low-key banger on there. It's like all those other bangers hit you immediately. That's the one that the streets love. And it's like, when they played the record, it let me know they were still in tune.
Michael Sanders with the super chat says, why are you surprised that they treated our down south legends this way? The industry has never had love for the South. Well, you know what? Let's get to that, because that is very apparent. It's interesting that Verzuz caught all of this heat for treating Onyx and Cypress Hill this way, just a week ago.
Uh-huh.
And their response to this was to throw together an 8 Ball and MJG Verzuz that these guys have been asking them to do for whatever reason. And I don't want to get on that tangent. For 2 years.
Can I say something respectfully?
Go ahead.
Cypress Hill is a West Coast act.
Yeah.
And Onyx is the East Coast act. Their catalogs combined, in my opinion, are not better than just 8 Ball and MJG's catalog.
No, straight up.
I'm not saying that because I'm from Charlotte and raised in Atlanta. I'm saying that shit because it's true. 8 Ball and MJG's catalog is better than both of their catalogs put together. And I don't mean to be shady about it if people don't like it. I really don't give a damn like usual.
No, that's just giving props, man.
Because it's just the truth. These dudes got, man.
Listen, what they did, and I don't want to jump out the window or whatever, but I think that they have a catalog that could rival like a Mobb Deep or something in a Verzuz type of matchup played right.
Mike,
and they're treating them like they're not. You know what I mean? Like, that shit's not cool.
Mike, I have my top 2 comments on my notes, because I told you I didn't have time to take notes today because of the day that I had. So literally, we were starting the show. The notes that were in my head, I started writing down. My first 2 thoughts that spilled out, something about MJG we about to talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
8 Ball MJG's catalog. Right below 8 Ball and MJG's catalog, Mike, I have Outkast and Mobb Deep below it, because we about to have a conversation.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the way that they were able to change over time, like you said, they started off strong, and even in the middle section, this stuff aged very well.
Yeah, hold on. The middle section is the Lost tape in the Space Age Pimpin' on top of In My Lifetime Volume 1. So that's the middle road stuff.
And even when they play like Tila showing up, I'm like, man, they didn't even have to go there. They got bangers, man.
They got stuff for days.
And it's crazy. I want to say this, and I'm going to get to the lineup or whatever. I was more of a UGK fan growing up between the 2 groups. Now, granted, I was one of those few people that was like, yo, man, MJG is super nice. Like, I always thought MJG was the best rapper of them 2. Now, I get it. 8 Ball got the style, got the flow, and I love 8 Ball. Because Mr. Biggs was crazy, and I was glad when they dropped that too. But I always kind of gravitated to MJG for whatever reason. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to be real. Out of the 4, If you put all those groups together, I think MJG is probably my favorite MC of the four. I don't know if he has a better verse than Bun B's Murder verse, but
No,
collectively,
no, he
out of the
doesn't.
four, MJG's my favorite, right? And I think MJG might be. I know I've said CL Smooth before on this show. I think MJG might be the most underrated rapper in hip hop. He's top three.
You're stealing some of my thunder, Mike, but let's get to these super chats and then I'm going to get to my
Okay,
first.
all right. A Train with the super chat. He says it was a good versus, but 8 Ball and MJG held back a lot. That's crazy to say. Jay
It's
Short
also
says,
correct.
"Stop blaming the industry who delivered the verses to the who delivered the verses to the industry. Timberland and Swiss. We need to hold collaborations just as accountable. Collaboratives just as accountable." Okay. One buddy says, "You can't blame the industry for what 8 Ball, MJG, and Bun B negotiated. Also, that Atlanta crowd was horrible and had no respect for the legends." You know what? That's a fair point. They should have said, you know what? We're not going to do this under short notice like this, and we're not going to do this in Atlanta if they didn't want to, right? And so if it turned out that way because of the short turnaround and the fact that it wasn't in any of the cities that they represent, I guess you could blame the actual acts for that. That's fair. That's a fair point. But they shouldn't have to do all that, is what we're saying. Because if this is quote unquote the culture and this is hip hop culture, you wouldn't have presented this to Run DMC like that. You wouldn't have presented
No,
this to, you know what I'm saying? Because they gave, let's just keep it all the way a buck,
they
man.
wouldn't
No,
have done this to Tribe and De La. They wouldn't have not done. This is our tribe and our De La. They wouldn't have
nigga,
done this to
nigga, they
Tribe and
didn't
De La.
do this. They didn't do this to Ja Rule and Fat Joe. Nobody asked for a Ja Rule and Fat Joe versus, and I say that respectfully.
They gave them a
They
big,
gave them the Brooklyn Nets arena, man.
yeah,
They
big
gave
stage,
them the Barclays Center.
big stage,
Big
big
stage.
fun, big stage with big fun.
Come on, man.
I
A
was
Train with
big.
the super chat says MJG friend to foe verse. Reggie says they treat these legends like a charity case. They did. It's not a good look. And you know, it's unfortunate because they went out there and played. They showed through the music that they belong in these legendary conversations. But
That's why
the
we're about
arena
to.
didn't show that.
That's why we're about to have this Outkast and Mobb Deep catalog conversation relationship to 8 Ball and MJG later on. But let's let's unpack the MJG comment that you made, and then let's get to the Atlanta crowd and kind of the locale for all of this, and then we can kind of go from there. Is that cool?
Okay, yeah, cool. Go ahead.
When I listened to this verses and I heard these records all over again, and I heard them collectively from beginning to end, and I don't say this too often on this show because, quite frankly, I think too much of myself. I have underrated MJG, and I owe MJG an apology.
This nigga's nice, man.
This nigga right here.
And he sounds great right now.
This nigga right here. This nigga right here, Mike, is nice on the mic. Here was my thought. Not even him being underrated as an MC. You want to know what the most underrated part of his game is? His voice is great, Mike. And we don't talk about
his flow is great.
His voice. No, we're going to get to the flow in a second. I got a lot of mental notes up here. I want to get to the voice first. Because here's the thing about it. In hip-hop, isn't it important when somebody comes on the mic that you know who they are and how they're bringing it and what they're bringing to you and how authentic it sounds? Doesn't he do that as well as any Southern artist? Don't you know who MJG is immediately when he jumps on the track?
He's a great
Isn't that voice
storyteller
authentic?
too.
Isn't it original?
Yeah.
Isn't it a great voice? We haven't talked about him. He has one of rap's greatest voices because we don't talk about Southern rap artists having great rap voices enough. But he's got a great rap voice.
Yeah.
Got one of the greatest voices in rap history. And I heard it the other night because at his age, him going back to his 1990 stuff all the way up to their most recent stuff, man, he was killing shit.
He sounds the exact same. That shit's impressive.
Damn, pimp tight.
And he breath control, everything on point.
Everything. So delivery, Mike. Everybody says 8 Ball has the flow. I can't necessarily say that or agree with that.
I've always felt like that too because when I hear MJG rhyme, I hear like Gangsta Boo's flow, Player Fly's flow.
Yeah.
Like everybody from Memphis flow kind of derives from this guy. Yeah.
Mike, that was my next mental note. This is the Memphis sound. MJG flow.
And one guy.
Hold on, his flow, his delivery, his cadence, his rhetoric. That is Memphis.
Yeah.
Hold on. Leroy, when you're from the Mound, they do it like this. You don't know nothing about that, Leroy. You don't got people from there. Anyway.
LP says with the super chat, he says, Ball got an underrated double album. Triple album, guys.
Lost, yeah.
DeCarlo says, man, they don't respect the South at all. That looked like they were at a bar in Atlanta. It was so dry. They act like they didn't want to be there. Right, like they just crammed a random crowd of extras or something together. I saw Mickey Fax posted that he was there. Like, I might reach out and just see what the crowd was like, or how they put it together. But I mean, even we're in Atlanta, we didn't know like how they were putting this together. They didn't make a big deal about it. They rushed everything and put it all together to the point where, like they said, it looked like these guys were performing at a bar, man. They deserve more than that. Straight up.
Okay. So what if I told you so let's go back to these core four groups before Outkast, because I always look at hip hop. Outkast is the turning point in Southern hip hop because Southern Playalistic went platinum, and they were getting major play, and they had people like Puff, who was from Harlem in New York, directing their first video. You feel me?
Right.
That was different for a Southern rap act to get that kind of attention, and so I always go to the originators, Mike, and there's really one from one camp and two from all the other. Actually, no. And actually, we're not even gonna do that. We're gonna throw him in there as well. And this is what I mean about we haven't rated MJG properly. Well, from his era, listen to the names that I'm about to rank. Where do you think MJG is as an MC? Willie D, Scarface, Bun B, Pimp C, 8 Ball, MJG, Lord Infamous, Juicy J. Where's MJG on that list?
In my personal opinion, and I'm a huge Lord Infamous fan, it might be Scarface and MJG, man. It might be. It might be, man, because I think his storytelling's underrated. And I think what really hurt MJG is when No More Glory dropped, which I bought when it first came out. And I don't think it had the impact that people thought it should have had. But I don't know if it had the push that it should have had either. It wasn't a bad album.
I need to go back and listen to it. I didn't love it when it first came out.
I didn't love it when it first came out either. It didn't reach that 8 Ball MJG, bar. And I think it could have been better on a production end, but I think that's why he doesn't get that notoriety. But when you think about it, though, Coop, he was the first person of all of those people outside of Scarface that actually jumped out and did a solo. And I'm not counting Willie D because they were way before. But we talk about the duos like Outkast, UGK, 8 Ball, MJG. He was the first to jump out and do a solo.
So, do you know the comment that I told you behind the scenes earlier today where I was like, and this is how I've always felt, I was like, well, Bun B and Pimp C are more talented than 8 Ball and G, but 8 Ball and G make better songs than Bun B and Pimp C, even though Bun B and Pimp C are more talented. But after listening to this Verzuz and after thinking about their catalog, I said to myself, well, I don't know how accurate that statement was that I told Mike, because you might be surprised by this. If I was ranking these guys right now too, and I don't think I'm being prisoner of the moment, I'm just going by really what I've heard and maybe some of what I've forgotten. I have MJG number 2 behind Scarface 2, Mike, and I always had Bun B right there and Pimp C right after that. And then
I'm going to say this, and I love Bun B. I think MJG's a better rapper than Bun B. Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't have, you want to know what the difference between, and this is what I realized during the Verzuz too. This is one of my notes. The difference between Bun B and MJG in terms of the love that they get or don't get outside of the region, Bun B's vernacular and verbiage extends beyond the Southern boundaries, and MJG keeps his verbiage and his vernacular Southern.
Yeah, Bun you remember when they got on The Play Away on Mace's album, right?
Yes.
MJG was the standout on there, too.
Yes. So
LP says Suave House never gets brought up either. It's true.
True. That's true. That's true. But I actually would have to say it's like, because I can't say, because whatever you feel about UGK, they don't have an album after Riding Dirty that's messing with In My Lifetime Volume 1 or Living Legends.
I love In My Lifetime. For a minute, that was my favorite, but going back, Coming Out Hard's my shit.
And keep in mind, we're keeping on top of the world out of this. You know what I'm saying? That's why we go to the floor. Go.
And when Lay It Down got dropped, I was like, man, damn, I forgot about Lay It Down.
That's what I'm saying.
They got bangers, man.
Got bangers.
Man, that says Scarface, Bun B, Trade of Truth, 0 over MJG, in my opinion. I can see where you're going, Bumby, but I'm not putting Trey the
But
Truth and
listen,
Zero
but
over
MJG,
MJG.
listen, we talking voice, delivery, cadence, influence. Because it's like
Yeah.
you said, well, Mike, all these niggas in Memphis, when you really go back to it, it's like, oh, no. You stole that shit from MJG.
Listen to how MJG rhymes on Coming Out Hard. And I think it's easier to hear it there because the beats on Coming Out Hard sound like Memphis more so than the stuff that they did after that. That's kind of more laid back, you know, Texas kind of feel almost.
Now let's go to this whole Atlanta crowd thing.
Uh-huh.
Well, hold on. UGK is from Port Arthur, Texas.
Right.
A Ball and G from the Mound.
Right.
Memphis. Okay. Atlanta has always been a black hub in the South and in this nation pretty much since post-Civil War and slavery. But here's what I mean about how this was poorly put together. Oh, well, Tim and Swiss or whoever has them on the puppet strings thought that they could just slap some niggas in Atlanta and they was going to know all the words to 8 Ball and MJG's catalog and to UGK's catalog. And it's like, well, you don't know Atlanta because it's like that's some really deeply rooted, like traditional thing with hip hop. And you probably would have been better served waiting and doing this at the House of Blues in Memphis.
Yeah.
Or doing this, what's the Houston Rockets arena in Texas?
I forgot the name of the
arena.
arena.
Or Dallas Mavericks, like where the Mavericks or the Rockets play. You get what I'm saying? But bringing this to Atlanta, where it's literally called Black Hollywood because people just show up at events like this because they want to be seen, Mike.
Yeah. It's very Miami-ish in that way.
Just want to be seen down here.
Let me piggyback on one of your points, and we're gonna get to the super chats. You talk about arenas, Dallas Arena or Houston's arena. This is the thing.
Texas gonna show up for UGK.
Of course. My thing is the only thing that Verzuz as a brand would be able to add to 8 Ball and MJG and UGK doing this where they wouldn't do it on their own per se is venue, right? It's not audience. Like, if they did it on their own, they have their own followings or whatever. Why couldn't they do this on their own? Whatever. But the other thing is, you guys were able to facilitate Ja Rule and Fat Joe at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So you're telling me that the Verzuz brand with Trilla behind it now couldn't get Houston or Dallas's arena?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like you said, Houston's gonna show up for both of these acts. Like,
I mean, Dallas. I brought up Dallas because Port Arthur, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, is actually closer to Dallas than Houston. I think.
Well, Houston or Dallas is gonna show up for both of these acts.
It's Texas. It's UGK.
Exactly. So the thing is, and it's 8 Ball MJG who did a lot of work in Texas. You know what I'm saying? And that shit was bumping in Texas. All that. Suave House is Texas, but so you're trying to tell us that you guys were able to get the Barclays Center, and again, I mean no disrespect by this. I'm sure Ja Rule and Fat Joe should feel the same way. You guys were able to get the Barclays Center for Fat Joe and Ja Rule, a Verzuz that no one asked for. But you're telling me you're not going to put forth the effort to do those things for these legendary acts that come from the state of Texas? You just don't care. And I do agree with the comment earlier that said they shouldn't have agreed to this. I do agree with that. They shouldn't have been so thirsty to take whatever that Swiss and Tim or whoever was giving them. But they should have never been presented with that bullshit either. Ryan Gillum with the super chat says, what would y'all say MJG's best album and verses? I loved In the Middle of the Night, his verse on there. Jay Short says, is In My Lifetime a classic? Y'all going all over the place. LP says, Smack Battles and ATL got better production value.
He's right, because I actually got a homie that's like involved in some of that, and they do an excellent job.
Okay, so kind of piggyback on some of the things that I said. I know you had some other points too.
I just wanted to kind of get to all of the poignant points that she made and just piggyback off them further and break them down and really like elaborate.
You want to go to the second point?
Yes, because I was about to say something disrespectful.
Second point is, I get you want your brand front and center, but there should have been a pic of Pimp on the screen. Period.
That's okay. So that's where I was about to be disrespectful anyway. So this is what I do want to say about where the Atlanta crowd hurt this Verzuz. Bun didn't have Pimp there, obviously, and we all knew that. These people didn't know Pimp stuff like that.
Hold on. There's a correction too. I want you to hold that thought. They're saying that KRS and Big Daddy Kane were at Barclays Center, and Fat Joe and Ja Rule were at the Garden. Even worse.
That is worse. That's not better.
Even worse.
Y'all gave Fat Joe and Ja Rule the Garden.
No one asked for that versus. And again, I say that respectfully.
Can I ask you
something? People been asking for this versus since we've been on lockdown.
Where in Atlanta was this held at?
I don't even know.
Okay.
Straight up. I mean, and the thing is, man, let's just be real. Y'all did this because these guys are Southern acts. And for a lot of people in hip hop, Southern artists are second class citizens. Right? I mean, let's just be real. When we talk about the top of the top MCs or whatever, Southern artists aren't even considered. Now, granted, there's a lot of, dope MCs on the East Coast. And I've said it myself, like Brooklyn per capita has the best MCs of any place in the world. And Queens is right there with it. But at the same time, when you have legends coming from other places, the South specifically, you can't shit on them like that, man. And you can't just throw this together in a matter of days and just throw it in Atlanta somewhere and expect, like, whatever. We just gonna do it. They don't even want this to look good. And I guess they thought we just weren't gonna notice. DJ Bruce Almighty says, I heard the artist wanted it in ATL to have a neutral location. Okay.
May I? You mind if I
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. You're perfectly fine. I think that kind of goes to some of what I was telling you behind the scenes, just in terms of like, well, Memphis ain't to be played with, and Texas is a big place with a lot of big personalities and big people and a lot of big things going on. That's why I was saying Atlanta has always been a hub for events and moments like this, because truthfully, if they wanted to localize this more for either one of the acts, there needed to be more time and effort put into it about that, because I just felt like they deserved more overall. They did.
113 Moody Noel says it was right across the street from Phillips Arena. At like a bar or something?
Where are you talking, the Tabernacle?
I don't know. It doesn't look like the Tabernacle.
That's what I'm saying. That's the Tabernacle.
Yeah, it didn't look like the Tabernacle. Where exactly was it? Do you know exactly where it was at?
No, tell me, because I used to work down on them corners. I know Marietta Street and Ivan Allen and all them backwards and forwards.
Reggie said Bun B versus was at. It said it was at the complex.
At the complex.
Okay.
Boo.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't think having it in Atlanta was that bad of an idea if you want to go ahead and promote it and put it out right and make sure you got the right fans in place. Because with it being so last minute and with it being so dead and the reaction from the crowd, it almost felt like they had extras in there. But you're right, Atlanta is very Hollywood in that way.
Yeah, it's Black Hollywood. We call it Black Hollywood for a reason down here.
Yeah, people went out to be seen. And not to enjoy
went out to be seen. People want to put on the outfit that they just, it's Atlanta. Credit card millionaires, Black Hollywood.
So what do you think about Pimp C not really being on display in that way?
In all honesty, I didn't notice it as much until she really highlighted it, because I guess we've just all been kind of like conditioned to people promoting their brands on stage like this more than the actual people. Yeah. I like when Bun actually took the time to let it be known, like, I'm not having anybody stand in for Pimp, because couldn't nobody stand in for Pimp. Y'all sing Pimp's shit. But that's when the Atlanta thing became a problem. It's like, oh, don't ask Atlanta niggas to sing. Like, no. Like, no. Like, we don't have a problem. I will tell you something on a personal note. How do you feel about how Greg Street hosted?
He hosted like Greg Street.
Okay, I didn't love it.
Yeah, I mean, what didn't you love about it? I mean, to get more specific.
He just wasn't that good of a host. Because how about this? You can tell when a show is really rushed. Here's the thing, like Bun's a pro. Ball and G, they're pros. Like they've dealt with hole in the wall clubs and all types of circumstances. Like these dudes have been discriminated against in the rap community at a time when they literally were not respected at all for anything. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? So, to piggyback on that and hold that thought though, if this is how Southern acts are getting treated in 2022, imagine what it was like in 1993 and 92.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. So these guys have already been through these circumstances. They know how to deal with these things. So I can see how rushed the show was, not from the artist, from the host. And that's where I can see that this was rushed, because I know what Greg Street is down here to Atlanta and to our hip hop community, and I know what he's capable of.
And I know what he means to Dallas too.
Yeah. But this wasn't it. This wasn't it, and that's how I know that the show was rushed. You know what I mean?
M Land with the super chat says H-Town would have been neutral. Baller MJG used to live in H-Town. Suave House started in Houston. Bun lives in here.
I bought up Houston first for a reason. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Like, I thought Houston would have been the most neutral. Once Bundy says, when New York heard about Dipset versus Locks, it's all we talked about. The South did not care at all about this versus. Blame the fans, not the industry. But the South didn't have the build-up. They had a huge build-up for that Locks and Dipset. They were talking about that for months.
They had time to do Instagram posts and go back and forth for days on end.
Yeah, they did.
To prepare. They literally, like, they threw, Mike, you know how you get that newspaper that you don't want, like, every Tuesday morning at, like, 5:45 in the morning, even though you didn't order it, it's on your, like, in your driveway and you got to go pick it up. But it's not like the AJC or a real newspaper. It's just like local ad papers, and everybody gets it. That's how they just kicked 8 Ball and MJG and UGK. It's like, oh, we woke up one morning and the shit was just sitting in our yard, like, oh, yeah, this is going on in a few days. It's like, oh, for real?
I was talking to a lot of people who were big fans of theirs that didn't even know that this Verzuz was happening. And I probably wouldn't have known this Verzuz was happening if I didn't follow, hip-hop to the degree that I do. Man with the super chat says, Bun B solo catalog beats MJG. Trill 2006, 2 Trill 2008, Trill OG 2010, Source 5 Mics, and his collaboration projects. I think Swiss Beats sabotaged the event. Why do you think Swiss Beats sabotaged the event? Because I see that there's a pattern here. A lot of our East Coast followers, which we love so much, they're saying don't blame the promoter, blame the fans. Whereas some of the people who are a little bit more neutral or Southern fans, they're feeling this, this slight, this discrimination. DeCarlo says he was being weird to me. He said he was being weird to me. Is he always like that? Oh yeah, that's kind of how Greg Street rides.
Yeah, but that's what I mean is like, okay, so if you're not familiar with this hip hop scene down here for a long, long time, Greg Street can come off corny to you, and can be corny at times, but he's not really that all the time. He is a music lover and like a head, and they didn't give him appropriate time to prepare as a host and do some like comfortable things that would have brought this show further together. Because I even felt like the artists weren't feeling him like that, and I know they have relationships with him.
Is it safe to say that Swiss Beats probably didn't want this to happen? Because when you think about it, even with the Bone and 3-6 thing, that took forever for no reason at all, really. I don't think he wanted that to happen either. I mean, listen, we're all human, right? We have artists that we rock with and artists that we don't rock with as much. And clearly by the energy and by the efforts that were put forth, Swiss Beats, Timbaland, or whoever's in charge, they don't really rock with Southern hip-hop like that. That's okay. Just say that. And if that's the case, and this is about the culture, be man enough or business savvy enough or respectful enough to just say, you know what, we're going to let somebody who does appreciate this run this one.
So now we're going to have to pull some cards right quick. How many verses have they showed up to? Like, were you at the Locks and Dipset verses? Because I'm pretty certain Swiss was there, wasn't he?
I think so.
You're at the DMX Snoop Dogg?
Well, I mean, that was in the studio, but yeah, I think he was actually.
Okay. Hold on. Was he at the Gucci and the Jeezy?
I don't know, but they were real hyped about that. And you know,
You see what I'm saying? No, hold on. But
my
listen what I'm
problem
saying.
with that one though, that wasn't about music for them. You know what I'm saying? That was not about music. That
Okay,
was
but what I'm trying to
about
say is that are you
yeah.
showing up to support the Southern artists with the same fervor and consistency that you're doing to the East and West Coast artists?
Well, I mean, the support
Brother,
is in the efforts. Did you see
well, I
that
mean, but
stage?
also too, do you care enough about this event and this culture to show up? Weren't you at the Fat Joe Ja Rule?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So when it's New York artists, you show up. But you acting like you didn't go to high school down here and don't got no ties down here.
Well,
You
no,
don't
when
know
it's
no.
New York artists, they get the best venues and everything. LP says ATL salty about Pimp saying they not the South. No, I see what Pimp was saying. I rock with Pimp C. I love Pimp C. R.I.P. to him. And when he was saying what he was saying, I think, and I think maybe I was having this conversation with you. Obviously, you know, Atlanta's in the Southern Hemisphere. But I think that sonically, Pimp might have thought that at the time, Atlanta was gravitating more to like more East Coast centric things.
I never quite agreed with
Stylistically.
the sentiment that he made. So, what is East Coast centered things was Atlanta really doing?
East Coast centric, I mean, like as far as like the approach to the music, you know, flow wise, because he said this around the early 2000s, right? This was around the time when, you know, T.I. was, you know, kind of rapping for New York's respect. And
Yeah,
I think
Ti
that's the
Jeezy Luda.
difference, though.
That's the Ti Jeezy Luda time.
Exactly. But I
Mhm.
think that's the difference between Texas and Atlanta is the mindset of like Texas understood that, you know what, we can live with our fan base in Texas. Atlanta, and I'll say this is real, this is just the truth. Atlanta was a large majority of us, myself included, when I was rapping. We were rapping to get the respect of East Coast heads, right?
Mhm.
That was a thing. And I
Okay,
think that's
so
where Pimp C was coming from with it because they never cared about that. Scarface was
okay,
never trying to get the respect of East Coast heads like that. He was just doing
okay.
his thing.
So let's just have and this is why I said I never totally agreed with that, and respectfully so.
He
You know
said,
how
"What
many?
time zone are y'all on? Eastern
Hold on,
Standard Time."
hold on. Texas and California are two of the three largest states in this nation, correct?
Yep.
You can literally afford demographic wise to just stay there and not have to do a thing
Of
just off the
course.
demographics. Now,
But that creates a mentality, though. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say is that, well, your mentality has to do with the fact that you don't, because Californians have the same mentality, Mike.
Exactly.
You don't have to leave because you don't have to leave there to make it happen.
Yeah.
Because it's big enough and there are enough people there that you don't have to change a thing and you can get people to love you right within your own framework.
Yeah.
Now,
Nipsey, E40, Too Short. The list
now,
goes on.
now listen to this. Now, how far away is Atlanta from New York, and how far away is Houston, Texas, or Port? You get what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So there's some distance involved with that issue too, because literally y'all are on another time zone, and literally you are further away, and it's harder. Hold on, listen. This is how chain supply works. It's harder to get stuff when you're further away. Mike, when I lived in Cali, I used to get this great Cabernet called the Opus One by Robert Mondavi. When I used to get it, in 2006 in California, it was $75 a bottle in Orange County. Because Napa Valley is only about 2 hours away from where I was living. When I got to Atlanta, moved back to Atlanta later that year, that same bottle was $165 wholesale. Chain supply.
Yeah.
Because it got to travel further to get there, and thereby the influence on it isn't the same. So if you want it, you're going to have to pay more because it's not as popular, and we don't really move it like that.
No, that's real.
Real.
But listen, I think that I forgot how we got on that tangent. I think we was talking about Pimp C's sentiments about Atlanta, but this is the thing. The same effort, and I was thinking this when we were talking about Verzuz early on, because you and I have been covering pretty much all the Verzuz because our podcast has actually mirrored the time that Verzuz has been around. I thought for a period Verzuz was getting very East Coast heavy, and and pretty much it was only East Coast. And we see that the efforts towards Southern acts is just not the same, especially Southern legendary acts, because it gets no bigger than 8 Ball, MJG, and UGK. People have been asking for this for 2 years.
No, it does get bigger, because here's what I will also submit to you. And this is why I keep making the Outkast statement. Oh, if Outkast wanted to do this just about André, this would not go down like this now, wouldn't it? Just about the character.
No.
So there is some disrespect going on, because like I keep on saying, Outkast is when it changed and they started getting respect. They wouldn't treat Outkast like this. But just about Dre, they wouldn't treat Cast like this. So it's wrong.
DJ Bruce Almighty says...
Because he can't even show up for Outkast, and he would get treated better than this. So it's a problem.
Well, Dre definitely didn't show up. That wasn't a surprise. Bruce Almighty says, to be fair, the NY artists went against other NY artists with NY fans. Gucci versus Jeezy was ATL, home field advantage. The thing with the Gucci and Jeezy thing, this is how this started. T.I. was talking, and T.I. was trying to pull 50 in it, right? T.I. goes on his IG Live talking about he'll take on whoever. I guess somehow Jeezy's name popped in it, and they were going back and forth. People weren't interested. Let's just be completely honest. They had a whole flyer and everything for it. People weren't interested in the T.I. and Jeezy for whatever reason. I feel like T.I. probably would have blown them out. They were saying the one that people really wanted was the Gucci and Jeezy. They went behind the scenes and made that happen, and that happened in that way. It wasn't like it was something organic. That just happened. That wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, that was one of those things that kind of happened by chance, and T.I. still hasn't done one.
Wayne hadn't done one either, has he?
Nope. Ray Realm says, can we give props to Big Boy, rap legend? Always comes through for his fans. Yes.
We're going to talk about all that. So can we, okay. Yeah, let's talk about that.
When International Players Anthem was played, I already knew Dre wasn't coming out.
No, let's talk about Southern representation as a whole, because some things need to be framed properly, because I think, first of all, the things that we say about André at times, I mean, I think, Mike, you're going to be hard pressed to find two people who know his catalog and love his music the way you and I do that actually talk hip-hop right now in these circles. And a lot of that is because, well, quite frankly, you're from Atlanta. I was raised in Atlanta, and I'm about as much a dual citizenship member of this place. You know what I mean? I'm probably more Atlanta than I am Charlotte, truthfully. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the Southern representation was in effect. You could feel immediately how important this was to 8 Ball and MJG and to Bun B just to get this opportunity. Because like you just said, Mike, if they're getting treated like this in 2022, imagine what they've really been through. And that really...
Well, Greg Street kept saying it. He was like, we're on TV. It was a big deal.
It's a big deal. Hey, look, you understand these records that were getting played last night weren't getting played when they were out. That's real. Like the first time I saw an 8 Ball and MJG video get played with some semi-regularity was Pimp Harder, and it was on Uncut.
Really? I remember seeing locally, and it's funny you say that because now I'm thinking, I don't remember seeing Space Age Pimpin' on BET like that.
No.
That was more so American music makers here locally in Atlanta.
Pimp Harder on Uncut, Mike. That's the first time I saw Paul and MJG on TV on a regular basis.
I remember Rap City used to play We Started This Shit and We're Gonna Finish This Shit. I remember that.
They did.
But that was just Rap City. It was nothing else. Mr. Pragmatic says, who y'all got? Yo Gotti versus Gucci in the verses. Man, I got Gucci with that. Easy. LP says, Coop, you holding Swiss Beats more for going to school in the South than Tim for being from the South. Tim should have made sure that this was done well. That's a good point.
Swiss is more immersed with hip-hop artists and hip-hop acts in the hip-hop scene than Timbaland is. Timbaland's best shit is with Aaliyah, Genuine, and Missy.
Timbaland doesn't seem to be that involved in this versus thing. It seems to be that Swiss is the mouthpiece, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like people need to understand this is that, well, outside of some great Jay-Z tracks, Timbaland hasn't been like some all-time great hip-hop producer, that has he?
Yeah, that's true.
Most of
DeCarlo
the heat is
says
R&B.
DeCarlo says they're out of touch. They thought we wanted Rick Ross versus 2 Chainz. I'm still not
Get out
off
of
that,
here,
but they,
Carlo.
like y'all said, why are they the gatekeepers anyway? Right.
I thought that was. Hold on. I thought that was Mike, and I said it on the show. People can go watch it. I thought it was unfair to Chainz and disrespectful to Ross.
I agree. Honestly, it should have been, if we want to talk about that, should have been Rick Ross and T.I., to be honest. With as much
Really,
collaborative
actually, the
stuff
more
they
I
have.
keep thinking about, I need to be Ross and Wayne if he was going to do a Southern, truthfully.
That's fair too. Mad Max says T.I. tried to make some South versus New York beef. I think guys from the South don't understand. You get more love by your own radio stations now than native New Yorkers. Only the old New York heads have Southern bias. I think they would constitute. I think Swiss would constitute as an older New York head, right?
He's our age. Get off my lawn.
Now, he's older than that. I mean,
older
but
than
he
us,
comes from he comes from the Bronx, and his people, they were there when hip hop started.
No, I told you he went to school with some of my big homies. He's in our age bracket.
Yeah, he's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But what were you saying? I'm sorry, I interrupted when you were talking about Southern acts, and you didn't see any 8 Ball MJG music videos into Pimp Hard.
Yes, well, I could say the same thing, because here's what I was realizing when I was going through these records. It's like, man, I know all these records because I'm from the South, and I got older cousins and older brothers and from the South, and they played all this shit for me. So I know what all this shit is. But if it were not for my older cousins and my older brothers, I would know nothing about these guys if I left it up to the hip-hop fans and the media in terms of how great and epic and legendary these guys are. Because the truth of the matter is that people really didn't find out who these guys were, respectively. UGK, and I want to go to Big Pimpin' in a minute. When is that? That's 99, right?
Yep.
Guess when Pimp Hard is?
That's
2000,
right?
That's 99 going into 2000. Yeah. Yep. And so both of them actually got their mainstream notoriety 10 years later into their career, which is absurd.
Yeah.
Think about it. They started when we were about 9 or 10 years old, Mike. They didn't get their notoriety until we was about 18, 19.
And they had already made their best work. You know what I mean?
They had already made, in 8 Ball and MJG's case, they had 10 years removed from their best work. And in UGK's case, 4 or 5 years removed from their best work before they got notoriety. So there's definitely, so you could feel the disrespect and how important it was for them to get respected any way that they could get it. Like, almost like, no, y'all not about to do this hip-hop versus shit and not include some of the forefathers of the South in this shit. Like, they weren't about to let them do it, and because they weren't about to let them do it, they accepted less than what they deserved.
That's a good point. And, and someone mentioned, I think it was DeCarlo mentioned the 2 Chainz and Rick Ross. Even before that, Bun B asked to do the 8 Ball MJG and UGK. Like, the fact that you went ahead and did 2 Chainz and Rick Ross, which really didn't make a lot of sense before you did that.
So whack, man. These niggas whack.
You want to go through track for track real quick? Because I'm interested to see what you
I want to say one more thing, because I just got notes all over. Because I'm really getting pissed off the more we talk about this, Mike. This shit's so wrong.
Yeah, it is what it is. Go ahead.
This shit's so wrong. They wouldn't do this to legends in the game that been 10 years in the game from New York or from Cali.
Listen, we see what they did for Fat Joe and Ja Rule, and I say that respectfully. But once again, no one asked for that matchup. Straight up.
Did nobody even want that shit, Mike?
No, nobody wanted that.
Man, that's what the problem is. It's like,
and I don't even think that. I think that might have been the most lopsided matchup they had, and I think stylistically, that's what it was lopsided. You know what I mean? Like, I love Joe, but he don't have those hit records that Ja got, and I love Ja, but he don't have the street records that Joe got.
These are facts.
It's not a good matchup. Honestly, if y'all want to go that way, it should have been musically what made sense. Should have been Ja Rule and Nelly, but I guess Nelly ain't from New York, so.
I would have liked. Hey, can I take Ja Rule versus this 50 versus battle that we doing? Can I take Ja Rule?
Sure, you can.
Yeah,
I'll smoke you with 50, definitely.
You're not smoking me with 50 versus Ja Rule. You're not smoking anything. Like Kendrick smoking on top 5s and making this little play of an album, right?
DeCarlo says, don't forget they wasted Luda, too. They did.
They did waste Luda.
Listen, 8 Ball MJG and UGK was in their face the whole time. and you had 2 years to get this right. And you chose to just throw this thing together at some random club or complex or whatever across from Phillips Arena. Didn't let them build this up to, like you said, to the point where certain people could make it. Because I know when they did Paying Dues, CeeLo wasn't there. But I don't think it's because CeeLo wouldn't want to be there. It was just so last minute. He couldn't be there.
Listen to what people are saying about 2 of our 5 or 6 greatest Southern rap groups ever. They stuck them across the street from Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia on a Thursday night.
Nothing was going on at Phillips Arena, I'm sure. Let's be real.
What? So
and again, Dipset and the Lox get the Garden. Fat Joe and Ja get the Garden.
Hold on. Dipset and the Lox don't have 8 Ball and MJG's catalog either, now do they?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, Mike. They don't have that shit. I love
it. Is what it is. Here. Ball and G got a crazy catalog.
Got a crazy catalog. Let's get to UGK right quick, because here's what I mean about the bias. Because I realized it today when I heard it again. Big Pimpin' is one of the greatest guest appearances of all time, Mike.
You think so?
By Bun B and by Pimp C. They made that fucking song.
They made that song. That's why, and I said that last episode, that's why Timbaland allowing this to happen in this way is so disappointing. Because one of his biggest, if not his biggest hip-hop song.
This is his biggest hip-hop record, Mike.
And they made that record.
And they made that. Not Jay.
No, Jay didn't make that.
When I listened to Bun B rap this shit, I was thinking to myself, man, they don't even need Jay on this record for this to be a classic. You can take Jay's part off, and this record is a classic. Like, if it's 2 verses, and the verses are Bun and Pimps with that hook and that beat, it's still the same classic.
I remember when I heard Big Pimpin' on the radio when I was a kid. I thought Bun B had the best verse.
Bun B has lyrically the best verse. Hold on, listen. Hold on. So let's highlight why this is one of the greatest guest appearances of all time by UGK. First of all, the hook is actually the buy-in, not the verses. Whose hook is that?
Yeah.
That's Bun B.
Yeah.
Big Pimpin', spending cheese. We doing Big Pimp on BLADs. You know Jay didn't write that talking about some Big Pimpin' on BLADs. Yeah. Come on. That's Bun B and Pimp C, okay?
Well, we also know from previous episodes, and I know Leroy Green's going to go crazy.
Ain't nobody talking about Leroy.
Jay-Z's hook writing game is not that great. You were just talking about Can I Get a What was the one that sold Volume 2. That's Ja Rule's hook.
That's Ja Rule, right.
So, yes, it's not far-fetched to believe that the Big Pimpin' hook is either Bun B or Pimp.
So Bun B is lyrically the best on this song, and he's doing the hook. This is Tim's best hip-hop track and most notable hip-hop track. And I think we know this already. The one time, and here's how epic Pimp C is, and I didn't even realize this, Mike. This is one of the best guest rap verses ever, because much like Biggie on Juicy, everybody and their mama knows Pimp's words to Big Pimpin'. It is the one time the Atlanta crowd turned all the way up and chanted every song, every word in this song, word for word. Everybody knows Pimp's part to Big Pimpin'. It is the highlight moment of this song.
Yeah.
And you see it from our Black Hollywood crowd that didn't know this catalog, but they knew that verse. Smoking out, pulling up, keep it up in my cup.
Yeah.
Everybody wanna brawl, holler brawls at the mall. Yeah. They were singing it in its cadence and everything. Long live the pimp. So that song is one of the best guest appearances ever, because the artist that made the song, and I'm not saying this to be shady, he does not need to be on the song for that song to be a rap classic. That's how great UGK is on it.
Have you heard Pimp C tell the story about that verse?
Oh, how TV don't know the temperature?
No, not that. He said, when he was doing that verse, he felt like and this is how they used to do back then. Like, biting wasn't cool. He was like, he felt like he was rhyming like Gip. So he called Gip up from Goody Mob. It's like, man, I got this track, man. It's like, can I use your style real quick? And Gip's like, yeah. Boom. Gip got flow. And for the people who don't know and really ain't whipped, on to Gip's catalogs like that, Gip has one of the nicest flows ever.
Yeah, I love Gip's flow. Gip's got a great flow. He's got great
voice too.
I'm in the MC. He's got great melodic timing.
Yep. LP says Coop smoking rocks, picking Ja Rule over 50. LOL.
50 stole Ja Rule's whole style. I don't know why y'all saying that.
Did it better too. One's Bundy said the
I
South
take
been
you
running.
to the candy shop. Okay, he did it
I'm
better.
not playing Candy Shop.
You better not.
One's Bundy says the South been running everything for 20 plus years, and y'all still blaming New York. Tell y'all artists to stop accepting the minimum. Okay,
He's right.
he's
No,
right.
he's right. I told you they accepted less than what they deserved. He's right.
You're right. They
You're
shouldn't
right.
have accepted it. I agree with that.
No, you're
Our
right.
beef is with the fact that this is what was presented, and that shouldn't have been what it was presented. But that shouldn't have been taken either. Somebody should have been like, no, we're not doing that. Ray Rim says, in defense of Swiss and Timberland and whoever's behind the scenes, Fat Joe had to face Ja Rule because reportedly no one wanted to face Ja. Well, I heard Ja go out there and say he was on the line with Fat Joe actually and Swiss. He said he wanted 50.
I remember.
And Swiss was like, he played him off. Like, is everything gonna be peace, king, and this and that? I'm like,
Hold on.
You
So
wasn't
how
worried
you gonna-
about that with Gucci and Jeezy.
Thank you, Mike. So how you gonna be worried about this industry beef? Mike, you and I, we from down here. I was raised on the east side. That Jeezy Gucci shit. Oh, that's real.
They don't care about that. They don't care about how real that was.
No, because you want to know why? Because they don't know how these corners work, but they know how those corners work. So they just think they can come down here and do anything. That'd be part of the problem.
Reggie says, correction.
I wasn't a fan of the whole Gucci. Like when I saw how the whole Gucci Jeezy Verzuz was playing out and how they was even how close they was letting it be to each other, I was like, oh, y'all think this shit like a game. Niggas is dead.
Reggie said, correction. It wasn't the complex. They were too ashamed to announce the location. I'm going to get the location. I know somebody that was there.
Say word, right.
I know somebody was there.
Yeah.
Let me see if we get to... all right. Let's go to these tracks real quick. You want to do that?
We might as well.
All right.
Hold on. I want to make sure that... No, hold on. So no, I don't want to go to the tracks right quick unless we're going to get to Andre's lack of Southern representation.
All right. Go ahead.
Even though it's his birthday. Well, I say all this to
Even though it's his birthday.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care if it's his birthday because we're going to talk about this shit. Because, these guys went through a lot so that groups like Outkast could go platinum and multi-platinum and be in the conversation to be the greatest group of all time. Like, the only reason that Outkast is in a position to be called the greatest rap group of all time is specifically about groundwork that these guys laid.
Oh, straight up.
Now, you have a record with 8 Ball and MJG, and you have a record with UGK.
A couple.
And they are in Atlanta, Georgia. And not only that, Mike, it's 2 of their best records, respectively, in both of the catalogs. Throw Your Hands with Outkast is one of 8 Ball and MJG's best records. International Players Anthem is UGK's best modern day record.
I loved Andre's verse on Put Your Hands Up, where he was like, you couldn't understand if you stood under it. The closer that I get to you, the further that I get. He was. Yeah.
You know all of Andre's verses. I already know, Mike. Yeah, he's epic on there. Right? It's Andre in 1999-2000. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the beginnings of Andre 3000. It's no longer Andre Benjamin.
Right before 3000 happened. Right, Mike, because this is actually in between Aquemini and Stankonia in My Lifetime Volume
And they
1.
were on a tear, both him and Big Boy. That's when Big Boy did the Slick Rick record too.
Slick Rick and all that. Yep, that's when all that happened. That all happened around that
Smoke
time.
Fest 99 for Tash, all that.
Yep. So I say all that to say, I know that you don't love rap. I know that you don't love hip-hop. But do you love these guys? Don't you love these guys enough in what they did for you to show up in Atlanta, Georgia, of all places, just to maybe give them each a verse and to bring this all thing full circle? Because here's the thing. If he would have shown up, the shit would have broke the internet.
It would have.
And don't you, hold on, and I don't say this too often, don't you owe that shit to Ball and G and the UGK?
I agree.
For real, Mike.
I agree, because this is the thing.
About how important it was to represent the South, and your bandmate who keeps literally y'all's flag alive. Like, Mike, we all knew Big Boy was showing up, didn't we?
Yeah. This is the thing. And I want to piggyback off of something you said, and I think it's very important. We hold all of our pioneers in hip-hop in general high. But the Southern pioneers, for whatever, get treated like they didn't break ground anywhere. And like you said, the work that they put in and the underground work that they did that they didn't really get a lot of worldwide acknowledgement for
No credit.
is the reason why you got the platform that you got to be able to do what you ended up doing.
They're the reason you're platinum and multi-platinum, period.
Oh, straight up. Or even able to sign a contract and put out Southern Playalistic at the time that you did.
Hold on, to even be able to call it Southern Playalistic Cadillac music.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah. Where's Southern Playalistic Cadillac music coming from?
Yeah.
That's coming from Ballin' G and UGK specifically.
Yeah, straight up.
Straight up.
Reggie says, is Big Gift the best spitter in Goody Mob? It's a good question. I mean, I think that CeeLo's the best MC. And I've said before that I think Cujo is lyrically the star on Soul Food. But I'm not mad at anybody saying that, like, we talking about just straight spitting. Gip got that.
No, Gip's dope. I told you I like
LP says, the South is prideful, especially that era. Give me the minimum and watch me do what I do. Maybe it's the Stockholm syndrome, but that's how they are. I could see that. Well, they're like, look, we don't need a big-ass stage. We don't need this and that.
Yeah, we never needed it to make it work anyway, so let's go.
Because they never had it. You're right.
No, that is some Stockholm syndrome. That's a great analysis.
Okay. As far as Dre not coming out, man, I just think this is my thing, man. Like, it's one thing to not seemingly appreciate the legacy of Outkast. But it feels like he doesn't even appreciate the groundwork that his part in putting the South where the South is.
How can we get respect, Mike, when our greatest talent doesn't show respect from the people that paved the way to him? How can we get the respect we deserve when our greatest MC won't show his forefathers respect? How can we get that respect? This motherfucker right here on his birthday, I don't care. No, stop handing out hall passes to niggas. Like, no, hold on. Imagine this.
Maybe he was celebrating his birthday.
Imagine this. There is a tribe in De La Verzuz, okay? And they actually have records with Run DMC. You know what I'm saying? Ain't they gonna be there for Run DMC? If Run DMC got a Verzuz and vice versa, you get what I'm saying? It'd be different, Mike. It'd be different. It's like, we can't afford to have missteps like this in the South where he does stuff like this. It's like, stop thinking about yourself. Think about the culture that paved the way for you to go off on whatever deep end that you choose to go off of that makes you not show up to these things. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because they would love to have him. I mean, Twista showed up. Twista showed love. And Twista from Chicago.
Everybody's showing love.
And Twista was like, I wouldn't be here without these guys. And Twista from Chicago.
It's just, I mean, how can we get the respect that we deserve from other regions when our greatest talent won't show up and do songs with people that paved the way for him? And it's not like the records aren't valid. Like, Throw Your Hands and International Players Anthem deserve to be played in this Verzuz because it's some of their 20 best songs.
Imagine if Dre would have went out there and rapped his verse to International Players Anthem. The internet breaks.
It's over if he comes out in Atlanta, Georgia, like with a wig on or however he want to come out. If he
comes
out
with the overalls, whatever,
and disappears, yeah, like it's a wrap. Like, he has that type of impact and influence, and this is a day. Like, this is a day that's not about your impact and influence, though, but your impact and influence can help get people who paved the way for you the flowers that they deserve.
And people who follow you in this generation, because he's one of those guys that younger people who really weren't around for his prime gravitate to him. People will see him gravitating to this and really go check out what UGK and 8-Ball MJG had going on.
Like, right, they might not even know who 8-Ball and MJG is, and they might get a YouTube clip the following morning of André coming out to do the International Players Anthem, and they'd be like, who are all these guys?
Right.
Who are all these guys
Let me do a deep dive.
Who are these guys rapping with André? I see Big Boy there in the background, but who are the rest of these guys?
Because, your hero and Andre's hero as well, and one of my heroes also, Prince, he would go out there and show respect to all of his heroes, as big as he was. Mad
Like,
Max says one thing about Nas, Hov, and the NY guys: they show love to the guys before them. All
they
the
do.
3000 talk, we can admit that he was always and will always be a weirdo. Oh,
No, it's not even weirdo. It's you're selfish. You're only concerned with you. You can try. See, here's the thing that you can't do with other artists. You can't play that, well, I'm an artist game. No, dude, you selfish. Just say that you're selfish. Like, be honest about it, though. Because it's like there are artists who are like that are selfish. Say that you're that. Stop trying to play it like you're this deep thinker that can't take the stress and the toils that other artists can take. It's like, no, nigga, you just don't love hip-hop anymore. You don't respect it like you should, even though it's given you everything that you really had in life and paved the way for you. And if you feel that way, fine. But be man enough to acknowledge it and stop playing these types of games, because this happened in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm saying
Big Boy was there. So
I'm not expecting him to show up to Orange Mound. I'm not expecting him to show up to Houston. This happened in Atlanta, Georgia.
Big Boy showed up with a mink and everything.
We know Big Boy was showing up with a mink and a gold chain, nigga.
Yeah.
Surprised he didn't bring out a couple pit bulls and a parakeet. All right?
Sleepy Brown was there too. Didn't even have a part.
Sleepy got a shout out from Bun. Bun was like Sleepy Brown in the building.
Yeah.
They was shouting out people in the audience. It was Atlanta artists. Like,
this is the thing, man. Like, you know, just being from just the South period, those songs brought me back. And so, and I listen to everything. Like, and I'm not just one of those people that just say I listen to everything to say I listen to everything.
You really do, Mike.
The Yeah Yeah Yeahs are dropping June 1st, and I'm ecstatic. Like, they haven't dropped an album since 2013. But no matter how far my music journey takes me, when I hear songs like Wood Will and all that shit, like, that shit is hard. I mean, and I don't care what Dre says. You hear these songs from 8-Ball MJG, like 9mm Boys and shit, that has to take you back to a place. You have to still bob your head to that.
Mike, you know I'm doing another podcast with my guy that I've known since I was 15 years old in high school. We literally juxtapose popular culture, i.e. white songs, versus hip-hop songs. I just got done listening to You Don't Always Get What You Want by the Rolling Stones like 50 times. It's a beautiful record, Mike. When Space Age Pimpin' came on, it did something to me that you can't always get what you want is never going to do.
Exactly. It's different. Dre, no matter how far you go.
It's like, ooh, it's like Christmas, Mike. I felt 14 again.
And Dre, no matter how far you go on your musical journey, you cannot sit here and tell me that when Pocket Full of Stones and stuff like that come on, you don't feel the way that you felt.
When Let Me See It came on, I was like,
great record.
Victory.
Reggie says,
hold on, Mike, that's one of the first bars from UGK that I ever learned. To the ones that fuck for shrimp, to the ones that fuck for fun. If you ain't finna fuck pimp, then you ain't finna fuck boy. Like, I
remember where I was when I heard that song for the first time.
That's required Southern listening and rhetoric.
Reggie says, with the super chat, he says, we can't fault Dre for not participating in something that clearly was last minute and thrown together. Would you...
He'd be showing up randomly to train stations and airports. Why not?
Would you... what did he say? Would you put your name on something that was half-assed? That's a decent point, though.
If the people that paved the way for me are on it, I would actually put my name on it to make sure that it wasn't ass, because me putting my name on it changes the whole dynamics of it because of who I am.
Well, speaking of putting your name on something, and I think I might have spoken about this when it happened. You remember when they did the One Music Fest, I think it was. It was a Dungeon Family reunion. And it said Big Boy, and then it was Goody Mob, because CeeLo didn't take himself out of Goody Mob, even though he has enough solo work to do so. And it said Erykah Badu or whatever, and special guest. And I'm like, is Dre special guest now? Like, you're not going to put your name on the flyer? Jesus. I don't know. LP says Dre thought he was going to be a movie star. Yeah, I guess so. Let's go song for song real quick.
Yeah. Let's run that down.
All right, so 8-Ball MJG started off with 9mm Boy, and UGK did Tell Me Something Good. I had 9mm Boys on that one.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay, we're on the same page here.
Yeah, we are.
So I want to see what this scored out to be on ours. Let's see. Round 2, Coming Out Hard, Pocket Full of Stones. I actually had Coming Out Hard on that.
I actually had that Pocket Full of Stones, but if you wanted to call it a wash, you could.
Okay. Let's see. You keep scoring your end too, because I want to see what. Yeah.
No. I was actually about to do that. First one goes to 8 Ball and G, right?
Yep. I got 2 for 8 Ball MJG and 0 for UGK right now at 3. In round 3, I mean.
Wash. Yeah.
And you got the wash. Okay. We started this shit, which I love.
I love it. I
But
forgot about that too. I
but
was like,
chopping
oh my God.
blades, I gotta go chopping blades. That was another one of those songs. When that shit came on, it did something to me. I was like, yo, that shit takes me back, man.
No, you're right. You could have. For some people, you could have watched that record too. That's why I
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Started this shit was great.
It is. You could have watched that record. I thought about watching that, but I'm with you. Chopping Blades is probably slightly better. I think it's more classic to our culture.
Ray Rim says, what compelled me to send that cash app was the amount of guests that came out. No 3000, Big Boy, Sleepy Brown, 2 Chainz, etc. Dre must have been depressed. I think it was Young Dro that came out. Did 2 Chainz come out too?
I didn't see Chainz. I saw Dro.
I think you might be talking about Dro because they look similar to people sometimes.
Thank you.
8-Ball MJG Candy versus front, back, side to side. I'm going Candy, and that hurts me to say.
I'm not. I'm going front, back, side to side.
I'm not mad at you. That shit hard.
I was actually thinking, I was like, that's a potential wash, but I lean on front, back, side to side.
Front, back, side to side hard. See,
Sure.
I didn't know if he was going to do that one or the one with Tip.
No, I'm cool with the original.
I'm glad he did the original.
Me too. Think the original.
Because I thought Tip might have came out, but again, if we would have got some time for this shit and some weeks of preparation, maybe that could have happened.
It'd be nice if there's a statement coming out to saying Andre wanted to do this, but due to time conflicts.
Oh, you know, like one of those long statements that he sends out to Rolling Stone?
Well, I just like him to say in short, well, New Yorkers are busters and don't give us our proper due and justice, and I wasn't able to, participate in it, but I would have had I been given the proper opportunity if these East Coast biases would stop and these dudes would stop being busters in scene.
Hashtag the South got something to say. Round 5. We got 8-Ball MJG featuring Lloyd Forever. That was hard. And Wood Will, but I'm going Wood Will.
I'm going Wash, actually.
You know, I forgot how much I loved Forever. That shit was hard.
Forever's the low-key burner on that album, Mike. That's what I'm saying.
They know their catalog very well.
They did.
8-Ball MJG featuring CeeLo, Paying Dues. We love that song, man. Me and my boy Nate, we love that.
Hold on. Is that the best song on In My Lifetime Volume 1?
It's one of them. Don't Flex is my favorite, but if you said that was the best song, I wouldn't be mad.
Okay. It's up there. It's top 3 on that album, and that's a great album.
Versus UGK High Life. I got 8-Ball MJG again on that.
I got so right now. Where do you have it? Because I have 2 for Ball and G, 2 for UGK, and 2 washes.
I got 4-2. Ball and G.
Okay.
8-Ball MJG featuring Young Dro. Tell the DJ bring it back. This was a banger too that I didn't expect them to do.
You want to know what, Mike? I forgot about this record.
Bun B.
Like this. Tell the DJ bring it back. Tell the DJ.
Yeah, shit was hard. Bun B draped up. I gotta go 8-Ball MJG on this one again.
I think that's Ball and G. Yeah, I do think that's Ball and G.
Yeah. Round 8. 8-Ball MJG, Tila, Jazzy Face, Shown Up. Versus Take It Off.
Let's take it off. It is.
Now, this is a wash for me because I personally like Take It Off, but I think in a vacuum, I'm going to have to say Shown Up is the bigger song.
It's bigger, but it's not better.
It's just hard for me to say that it's better than Shown Up, man. That was a big, big song.
I'm going with Take It Off.
All right, I'm going to go Take It Off. I'm going to go Take It Off because I'm going to go with my gut because that's the song I personally like better.
I felt like the crowd reaction was a little bit better to Take It Off, too.
Was it? Okay.
Felt that maybe a little bit, just organically.
8-Ball Homeboy's Girlfriend versus UGK 316.
Might be 316.
Yeah.
316.
So, okay, we're getting closer on mine. I got Ball and G at 5, UGK at 4.
I got UGK at 4, Ball and G at 3, and 2 as a wash.
Okay. All right, round 10. MJG featured Twister in the Middle of the Night. I love that record. And versus UGK, The Game Belonged to Me. I'm going Ball and G on that one personally.
I think that's a wash.
I ain't mad at that.
Yeah.
Yo, Twisted killed this shit, man. Still
He
a
did.
menace to the juices diminished, still I'm a menace like I'm Iceberg Slim. I think that's one of his strongest verses at that time period. Like, I would say his Pimpin verse is probably his strongest, but this one, the way it happened, man, I was like, he just came in on that shit. And then he handled the hook. I can tell you how to get your game right. Yeah.
He was tough on there.
Yeah, he was tough on there. Hold up. Where's the rest of this? Oh, I gotta click the next page. Sorry, guys. I'm on this off-brand website. I'm gonna shout them out too. All right. Stop Playing Games with Ball and G versus Get Throwed. Whew. I like Get Throwed more. Excuse me, but I
like Stop. I like Stop Playing
I
Games.
think
more.
Stop Playing Games is the better song.
I do too. I like it more too, actually, than Get Throwed.
All right. Ball and G, Relax and Take Notes. I don't like that they did that. Murder gets that off top.
It's easy.
That's it. That's the easiest one so far.
The easiest one was the Murder, because that's Bun B's, you know.
Space Age Pimpin versus Big Pimpin. I think you're gonna be surprised where I go here. That's Space Age Pimpin.
That's Space Age Pimpin. Yes, it is.
That's Space Age Pimpin.
That's Space Age Pimpin. Where do you think you got Big Pimpin from?
Right.
You've been listening to these down south boys for a minute.
Pimp Hard versus Let Me See It. That's Let Me See It.
Just Let Me See It, even though
Let Me See It's incredible. That's an epic record.
Pimp Hard's pretty dope, though.
Yeah, Pimp Hard is dope. Ooh, Mr. Big versus Return. That's Mr. Big all day.
Mr. Big, yep.
I was rapping every single word. My job at Mickey D's was fucking me with no grease.
So hold on. So where are we at? We're 15 tracks in, right?
We're on track 16. But yeah, we're 15 in. I'm going to 16.
I literally have it 6-6 with 3 washes right now. It's literally tied.
Man, I don't have it that close. Armed Robbery. Love that record. Versus Kick Dough.
Armed Robbery.
Really?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not mad at that, but Pimp C's verse is so epic on Kick Dough.
It is.
Game fucked up and I ain't got no friends and I just spent my last $70,000 on the drop top Benz. And I'm a trail nigga. It was like niggas down in Port Arthur still thinking of playing. Busted 70 grand to make it feel what I'm saying. UGK and C Murder. Cadillac. Oh, no, I'm going that record. I'm sorry. And I love Armed Robbery.
It's not better than Armed Robbery, Mike. It's not. You talking about one verse. I'm talking about the whole record. How we going to do
that? Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Okay, so how about this? Between the two songs, Pimp's Moment is the best moment. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
But
you're right. Because after Pimp goes off, the song kind of goes down. So Armed Robbery gets that.
Yeah, it's Armed Robbery.
I got to be fair. I'm sitting here being biased.
Yeah.
As y'all know, I'm a Pimp C fan. So, okay, Friend or Foe versus Diamonds and Wood. I'm going Diamonds and Wood on that.
Diamonds and Wood.
Lay it down, man. Jeez. Yeah. Versus Knocking Doors Down. Lay it down.
Lay it down.
Let's see. Round 19. Lil Jon and the East. Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. 8 Ball MJG. White Meat. I was surprised they did that.
I love White Meat. You don't like White Meat?
Yeah, I was just surprised they did it.
They could have did other stuff.
And UGK One Day.
I'm cool with.
Excuse me.
I'm cool with the wash, but I actually would probably lean towards 8 Ball and MJG on that one.
Okay.
I like White Meat.
I'll go White Meat.
Yeah.
Don't Make Me versus International Players Anthem. That's International Players Anthem.
Don't Make Me is so epic, though. I hate that those records fell at the same time. But you're right, it's International Players Anthem. But I prefer Don't Make Me. That used to be the club starter. You know who used to ride with me to that? This is back when me, Holla, and Vashon, and that whole crew used to go to Mama's Prime Time out on Covington Highway.
Hey.
Did you ever come with us to Prime Time, Mike?
I have. Yep.
Yeah,
all the way out there on the east side, man. That's a long ride home.
Right. it was a long ride home for us. I was about to say, I felt like you came with us to Prime Time.
Yeah. I remember going out there with Vashon and whatnot. We would skip the line. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We had our bread up. You know what I mean? Like, we ain't standing in no lines.
Hey, so look here. When Don't Make Me came on, it reminded me You remember the neighborhood Vashawn and Holly used to live in?
Yeah.
I pulled up on them one night so we could go to prime time. We're probably all 19, 20, 21 around then, right? He's playing Don't Make Me in the car. And I'm already faded. And I heard that thing come on. We were ready to go. That was our pregame music. You
People
know
are saying in the chat, "Don't make me."
Yeah, Don't Make Me's pretty epic, Mike. That's what I'm saying. That was the pregame. Like, back in the day, that was our pregame music before we went to the east side or went to Buckhead or whatever. Like, we played Look at the Grills and Don't Make Me and Gangsta, and we be turned and be ready to go.
Soulmatic says International Players Anthem should have went against Throw Your Hands Up. Yes, it should have. Mm-hmm. But we know why it didn't.
Right. That would have been great. See, if they would have had time to plan that, maybe, though, that would have been great. The same way they could have done a Twista song and maybe Look at the Grills.
Oh, man. And if T.I. could have came out there.
T.I. could have came out, right, because it's Atlanta.
Yo, when T.I. raps like that, T.I. is crazy. You know, I know people kind of look at T.I. for, because I think his versatility for a lot of people kind of hurts him, right? They see T.I. in one way. But when he raps like the way he did on there, and the way he did on Big Boy's song in the A, that nigga's on some other shit. Must be at your mouth, the tip won't touch it.
T.I.'s verse on Look at the Grills is the best verse on that album to me.
That nigga, when he raps like that, he understands the moment, man.
Sure. So
and you know, I really hate that he didn't.
DVD Set It Off Eileen, 4 carats in the count. Yeah.
Just to let you sucker niggas know that I'm the king.
Yeah.
Yeah. Must be out your mind, nigga tip won't touch it. See, I'm a bust and let it burn like Usher. Click, click, bang, nigga, end the discussion. Think shit sweet since you seen me with Puffy. Jeez. Yeah, his verse on In the A is crazy like that, too.
Yeah, no, when he spazzes, he spazzes with the best.
You know, he did that on that last verse, I'm talking to you, too.
Yes, like I said.
Because when me and you were going back and forth about King and I think it was Godson or whatever, I listened to King that next day. And I was listening, I'm talking to you, like that nigga went crazy on that song.
I'm talking to you might be his microphone fee moment, actually.
He went crazy.
That third verse too? Like, but the whole song, but if you, and listen to what I'm saying when I'm talking about microphone fee moments. Black Thought on No Gold TC, Black Thought be having microphone fee moments all the time.
That's what he does. That's his whole style.
He loves rap. He loved to rap, Mike. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like, that's
he's different.
He loved to rap.
Okay, what I was gonna say though,
love the rap.
That song, I always felt like it was directed at Wayne, right? And I feel like it was kind of one of those subliminal things where it's like, because he named everybody that was popping at the time, and everybody around Wayne. He actually named everybody from Cash Money but Wayne. And so I think that that's where the hunger was at, where it was like a little friendly competition or whatnot. It wasn't like no beef or anything, but I think that, I'm talking to you was, the energy was directed at Wayne.
Oh, a little spar session. Because actually I was about to say, it was actually a spaz session that was very comparable to Wayne's spaz session on Oh No from the Carter 2, which is around the same time.
Right.
Those were really two of my favorite verses that year. Like, both of those were top 5 verses that year to me.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I got 8-Ball MJG winning 12-8. That's what I got.
Let me find out. I got a whole tie up in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You had a lot of washes.
I literally have 8-Ball and MJG winning by 1. I have them 9-8 with 3 washes.
Okay. I think there might have been one that I might go back and give UGK over Ball and MJG, but man, I mean, when I look at this, you know, I hate that UGK didn't do Break 'Em Off something.
Yeah,
I didn't understand
both of them. One thing that you realize is that they both left stuff on the table, Mike.
Yeah, and I think that 8-Ball and MJG, maybe because it's 2 of them, you know, versus Bun B being one person, they did a better job of just, you know, going through their catalog and selecting. I do think that they should have. Do you think they should have played the Play Away with Mace? Maybe they don't like that record. I don't know how well that record aged either, because I don't hear it anymore.
Yeah, but also too, like, you know, no East Coast allowed.
Hold on, what? When did Ball do Stop Playing Games?
We counted that down, Mike. I told you that's one of the ones I have on 8-Ball and MJG side.
Hold on, where did that go against? I mean,
oh shoot, I might have to pull it back up. Hold on.
That song was great.
I forgot how great that song was.
Yeah.
I
Let
did.
me see. Stop playing.
You playing games?
And about that money you making. See, friend of foe here, lay it down. Damn. Yeah, they got bangers, man.
For days.
I think it might have been on the first page, but yeah.
It is trying to pull it up.
And
Right
again, this is from a person who was more of a UGK fan than an 8-Ball and MJG fan. I was a fan of both of them, but.
Mm-hmm. But like I told you, it's like, well, everybody loves UGK so much because of the talent. Bun B is such a great spitter. Pimpin has such a great infectious voice with the melodies and the harmonies. But
Bun B had one of the greatest feature runs in modern history too, I think. You remember he was on that feature run in the early 2000s?
Yeah, but 8-Ball and MJG just make better records. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just do.
The last comment from the comment that I was reading initially was about the stage in the set.
I didn't look the set at all.
Yeah.